Come with me today as we turn my office into a studio. A lot of this sort of stemmed from me focusing more on my creative brain and a little less on my business brain. That being said, obviously I still produce full time, but a lot of the things that have changed are just the way that I approach it. I still like to have systems and have structure, but a lot of it is more about the free flowing creativity and ability to experiment more than it is about the business metrics. And a lot of this came from, different shifts that happened in my life. But what I really want to talk about today is why the environment that you're in is so important for the person that you become. And just to zoom out a little bit, I want to start by talking about my mission as an artist. My mission is to empower listeners to own their story so they can build the life they want. I was not born by any means into a family or a situation that would allow me to be where I am today. And I'm not saying that, as a self-deprecating comment. It's really just the path that I'm on is very different than the path that was set out for me. And everything was pre-decided for me from when I was from before I was born, basically. Also being the youngest of three, there were already models of what my life should have been like based on my older siblings. And of course, what my parents and my grandparents expected of me. And so for me to have become who I am today is atypical, definitely, compared to a lot of my family members, but also unconventional. I didn't choose a path that was structured. I didn't choose a path that had, you go to school, you get your degree, and you get a job. I chose something that I could build myself. And I think a lot of the success that I've had in business took me away from that initial feeling of thriving from risk. I used to love the idea of not knowing where I'm going to be. And I think I started to fall a little bit away from that. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's just what happens when you start getting into more of a typical stream. But I really want to get back in touch with the idea, the heart of myself that loves being uncomfortable. I think I've gotten way too comfortable by knowing what's going to be next for me. And obviously what you want changes. But I think my mission's always going to be the same. And it's always going to be to empower people to build the life they want. And so that's where my mission comes from, is really just what I've done for myself. And I think part of what I wanted to talk about and part of this decision that I've made and the whole setup that we're going to go through today is, in order for me to help others and empower others, I need to practice what I preach. I need to be who I want to help others become. And that means building the life that I want and being great at what I do. And a lot of that's going to be interesting to go through this process is seeing how what I want changes, but also just documenting the journey. So 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I can look back and say, wow, I remember doing that, or how crazy was it, or damn, that was hard. And those are going to be really interesting things to look back on. For me, somebody that I look up to in the style of content that I want to make is like classic, like OG Iman Gadzhi. When he was 16 to 20 years old, that building phase of I'm building something right now and you get to see it. I'm like in the middle of it. That's what I want to show, because I am in the middle of it. So, I just want to be transparent about that and not come off like I've arrived at some glorious destination when I really haven't. I also don't think that it exists. So coming back to that, and sort of my next point that I wanted to talk about was that your daily actions are your identity. What you do is who you are. It's just that simple. If you want to change who you are, change what you do. And the way to change what you do is to change the way you see things. And so a lot of this is coming back to me uncovering my creative self, being creative again every single day, whether that's not only just for a project that I'm working on or a project for myself. It's also just experimenting, trying new things that I didn't do for about 2 years. I really got away from making things for myself and making things just to make things. And of course, that also comes back to the book that I'm doing, The Artist's Way. I do plan to document more of that. I got pretty nervous last week when I was doing my first artist date that I didn't document any of it, but I'm definitely bringing my camera with me this week. And I'm going to get back into the flow of creating daily, not only just content, but like I said, also music, and also documenting that journey that just ties back to the mission that I have, which is to be the person that I want to be and build the life I want to have so that I can empower others to do the same. And I don't talk a lot about my story on here, but at some point I might talk a little bit about how I got here to begin with. Making $10K a month at 21 doesn't happen overnight, but it also, a lot of what has happened, a lot of what I have achieved has come from what I've done leading up to now. And that really comes to my last point, which is confidence comes from action. If I want to be a confident musician, okay, let's say now I have the environment down. What's next is action, which is me actually doing the daily actions, which will then lead me to the identity of being a confident creator, being someone who writes daily, being someone who produces daily, being someone who trains their voice daily, as an example. That's my biggest constraint right now and something I'm trying to work on. But one thing that I love about this whole shift is that I've been able to see how my business thinking can improve my creativity. And it's like how I said, my voice is my constraint. It's like business is a series of constraints. Well, so is my artist career. It's the exact same thing. Any journey is a series of constraints. The only way to improve is to find out what is blocking me right now, what is my number one weakness, and how can I improve that? The start is always the hardest. No matter what you do, whether it's lifting weights, whether it's starting a new skill, the start is always the hardest. So I might as well get as many reps in as I can right now. The idea that I really want to summarize today is your environment can dictate your actions and your habits. But at the end of the day, we can only prep our environment so much that's within our control. And that's what I've done here. I've changed my environment pretty dramatically so that it can provide me the life that I want. But now the environment has done all it can. It's time for me now to take action to become the disciplined creative that I want to be. And that now just comes from putting in the reps. And that's what I'm going to be documenting now going forward. So really exciting. I have my next artist date from The Artist Way on Saturday morning. So I'll definitely be documenting that. I'm also filming content this week for a new song that I'm dropping next month. I'll also be documenting that. So expect a lot more YouTube videos and of course Instagram content to come at Ange Makes Music everywhere. But thanks for sticking through the video. Right after this, you're going to see the final reveal. I made a little montage, again, inspired by OGE Mongadzi. But again, thanks for watching. Hit subscribe and click the link in the description to hear my first single back before it drops.